Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trader Minute. It's great to have you aboard. I'm Carl. Thanks for tuning in today. And if you're here in the United States, welcome back. It's Cyber Monday, and hope you all had a great Thanksgiving Day weekend. I know I did. It was a busy one. Had some fun. Ate a lot of turkey, and here we are back at the market. And looking at the futures right now, you can see the futures fairly flat, up 0.75 this morning. Fairly flat. They were down a little bit earlier on and have risen slightly since then. Now there's a lot of data in the market this week. Let's go look at the data that's coming out this week. You can see here's an economic calendar from Bloomberg, and Bernanke speaking this morning. Now, again, he's gone, so there's market's not too worried about him right now and what he's going to say. The Gallup Consumer Spending Measure came out this morning, not too long ago, and it was up slightly. Prior was 88, up to 91. I gave the market a slight boost in the futures this morning that we were looking at just a minute ago. And a little bit later on today, a big number here, the ISM. That's going to come out here about a half an hour from now. That would be 10 o'clock Eastern time is when that comes out. So the market could swing on this number right here, depending on if it's a big surprise or not. It could swing on this number. We'll be watching our positions this morning based on that. Positions right now ahead of the open, there's not much indication as to where they're going to go. They look pretty flat, but not a lot of indication which way they're going to go right now. We'll be keeping a close eye on those today and make a decision what we need to do there. Later on in the week, it's a pretty big week. Wednesday, we got the ADP report. Some real estate information. Typically on Wednesdays you're going to get the petroleum reports as well. A lot of weekly numbers out. But then Friday is the big one. We got the unemployment report. That comes out an hour before the open, and yeah, that could be. It's always quite a report. It could make the market swing pretty big. Got a GDP report out Thursday. The weekly jobless claims number, factory orders. There's a lot of information coming out. The first week of every month is when you're going to expect a big week for reports, and December is no different. So there's a lot of information that could swing the market this week. Overall, the market remains bullish. These little moves, doesn't matter if it's down or up. The small moves right now on this uptrending market are good news for the bulls out there and keeping them feeding. Now, as far as any type of earnings and stuff like that, there's just nothing out there really to speak of. There were some small ones at the holiday last week. There'll be some earnings reports as we near the end, towards the latter part of this month, as we get into closer to the new quarter starting in January. But pretty quiet along that front right now. Let's go back over here to the futures. So again, futures fairly quiet. I'm just looking at our positions here. We got DE and Marathon, and again, see really not much indication which way they're going to move this morning. But we're going to keep a close eye and decide. Definitely not going to do anything before the ISM number out this morning. Okay. I was asked some questions over there. Got a lot of emails, and I appreciate the emails. A lot of real positive emails for what people are doing out there. And one of them was on this stock right here. I'll be watching this. He wanted to know if it's a good time to buy this stock, and if so, where. This is Texas Instruments, and I'll respond to your email if you're out there. I'll respond to your email as well. But looking at this technically, you can see on Friday. Sorry, that would be Wednesday here, where it gapped down to 42. Overall, we're in an uptrend. Gaps down to 42. By the end of the day on Wednesday, went back above the 7 there, which is a pretty positive sign. It's not good enough to jump in. But today, I mean, this was last Friday, which lighter volumes on Fridays. This really had pretty decent volume for the amount of time that was traded on Friday, pushing up in the upper Bollinger Band. This is a pretty positive looking sign, but I'd keep your eyes on this today. But normally, what I would do on a stock like this, I'd go, about this time of the month here, about 2 strikes into the money right now. And if I'm going to be buying something, I'd go 2 strikes in. Okay. All right, some earnings, some upgrades and downgrades. Some of the stocks that we talk about in here is what I'll look at. Travelers, they got downgraded to a neutral. That was by Goldman Sachs. Okay, and we've looked at Travelers a lot here. And then 3M, they got a downgrade to an underweight by Morgan Stanley. Right, so if you see either one of those down a little bit today, you know why. Some of the pretty big names, with some of the downgrades there. And then DuPont, they got an upgrade to a hold. Not much of an upgrade, but they got upgraded to a hold. That's always funny to me. And then eBay got upgraded to a buy by SunTrust. Now, Twitter's was initiated coverage by a lot of firms today. Goldman Sachs and several others initiated coverage on Twitter. One thing that's kind of cool, and before the market opened, I got to show you this, and Jeff shot this by me this morning. Check this out. Amazon's testing the delivery by drone. Isn't that awesome? They say it wouldn't be available for like 3 to 4 years, but they got these little, they call them octocopters, and they'll pick up your packages in yellow buckets and take them to their fulfillment centers for drop off. That's like the coolest thing ever. Check that out. I'm sure they just fly around. I got to look into this a lot more, but that's just awesome. They could come along, land in your front yard. I don't know if they have a little horn on it or something, but beep beep. Hey, your package is here, or let us pick up your package, and off they go. Isn't that is cool? I'm going to look into this. There's a little video on CNBC as well that will show these things. But they said they could be there within about 30 minutes. You put in an order, and within about 30 minutes, one of these things fly into your house, dropping off a package, and off they go. Yeah, it's just cool, isn't that, Trade Hound? That's back in the day when I watched Star Trek when I was growing up. They had these the doors that would open. They're really cool. They'd walk in front of a door and it'd open up. And we saw that happen. And now here we go with these things. That would be really cool to see the sky filled with those. There's still a lot of work to do on them though. Okay, so the market's opening up now. Let's go take a look at this market. So first of all, let's look at the positions. Okay, they're not opening yet. As far as the S&P, up 1. It's nothing. We're just opening up. So it just opened flat about right where we expected it to open with along there with the futures. And John Deere still not trading, at least here on stock charts. Neither is Marathon right now. On Wednesday of last week, I just had one top 3 stock, and that was FCX. Pretty much a no call on Friday with it, and this morning, down 5 cents. It's still down there. It's still below the 7. It's still in the lower Bollinger Band right here, and let this thing play out throughout the day, and let's see where it goes. But right now, just not much of an indication as to what it's going to do. It opened pretty flat. So here's Marathon. Now they open up 2 cents, just opening flat, practically where it closed on Friday. Now we had such light volumes on Friday, you don't really trust much of the movements here. So same with John Deere, down 3 cents. And we'd like this to push up above the 7-day average here today. Okay, now let's look at Amazon. Up 220 this morning. It's right up there at that big round number of 400. That's one of those numbers you could expect this to consolidate a little bit around, unless it gets some type of news that is seen really good for it. It is that time of year for companies like this to, if they exceed some of the expectations that were given to them going into the holidays, then this one could take off. Now, these are going to be good ones to watch because, as today is Cyber Monday after all. You know, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but when I think Cyber Monday, they always build up Black Friday. Oh, it's Black Friday. It's kind of exciting, I guess, if you're a shopper. I know my wife likes it and stuff. Not as much anymore. She didn't. She's just tired of the crowds. But you can actually see it happen, right? As far as Black Friday, but Cyber Monday, there's a lot of hype to it, and stuff like that. But you don't see anything happen. I guess it takes place, but you just don't see anything happen. I guess there's a lot of people out there online, and just I guess if you worked at one of the stores, you could see it taking place, but online. But yeah, let me just back up through the chats here. I know that AKS Steel Company. All right, was asked about this one this morning. It's got a nice uptrend intact. It's broken out here above the 550 level. It's jumping up into the Bollinger Band. I want to take a look at the trend writer on here. It's going to be an interesting to watch because you can see the Bollinger Bands are kind of contracting right here, and this is right in the upper band. A lot of times that's resistance. Doesn't mean it has to be resistance, but a lot of times that's the case. It might consolidate a little bit. It's jumped out here above 5.4. It might retest this area. But watch it. If it jumps up today and comes up off of 560, it's a very bullish sign that this thing's likely to head higher. But right now it's just trading flat. No indication as to which way this is going to go today. But the uptrend's there. It might consolidate a little bit before it pushes up further from here. It might come down slightly. I wouldn't think too much, but it might come down slightly and let that 7 catch up with it before it gets going here. Yeah, I just want to welcome John. He's on with us this morning, Jeff's brother. It's always good to have John on. He has a lot of good things to say. Okay. So FCX down 15 cents. If any of you happen to have gotten into that one, it's looking good. Well, it's still early in the day, but so far so good on it. With cores, the $82 is the level here. You can see that it's gotten up to that level a couple weeks ago. 82 could not make it through it. Coming up on it a little bit slower this time, and the gaps and back gap and runs up to those levels. The Bollinger Bands are contracting here, but it's not moving a whole lot recently. This would be one to watch. 82. If 82 can hold and push higher up out of this range right here, then it's likely to go higher. But it might consolidate right around this 82 mark here for a little while. But on one positive note, you can see it got up through 80. Let me zoom in on this. There's a big one, a multiple of 10. Gets up through it, retests the level. It just spent one day down below it and it's right back up above it. So it's a positive sign that 80 held. Now you got to watch it as it tries to push up through this next level. If I was in calls on this, I wouldn't sell it. I don't see any bearish warnings right here. If I'm looking to get in, I think it's a little bit early. It's going to give you some time to get in. But overall, not a bad looking stock. Tiffany, they gapped up pretty big last week, and still holding the levels up there. This whenever you see these type of stocks when they gap like that, when they gap and take off, let them consolidate a little bit, and see where that first round of selling takes you. And then if it starts to hold a new level of support up at where, way up above in this range right here, then look to get in. But let this initial surge settle down a little bit. If I was in it, I wouldn't stay in it a whole lot longer if I had a nice gain on this. just because it will pull back. It'll give you another opportunity to run higher. It should give you another opportunity. Sometimes they just take off and leave you behind, but that's what I'd wait for, is a little bit of another opportunity to let it settle down a little bit, and then look for an opportunity to jump back in, back to the upside. One stock I want to take a look at this morning is Walmart. Down 9 cents. Looks like it gapped down slightly. This is one to keep your eyes on. It's that time of year as these retail reports come out. There's going to be some of those out this week as well, as to how that Black Friday holiday weekend went. Now, from what I saw, they were saying that the Black Friday numbers were down slightly, but that's because basically most stores opened on Thanksgiving, right? So now a lot of those numbers would have come up on a Black Friday, came out a day earlier. All right, so with Microsoft, yeah, they're looking good. Their number here was 37.5. It could not get through the level. Now it got through the level and shooting higher. This would be one to watch. It's too early to jump in. If I was looking to enter a trade here, I wouldn't get in. If I was in calls, I wouldn't worry about it right now as far as getting out. I'd watch it right up around this 38.5 mark. It could push through it, but watch that level right there. This could be a little bit of resistance for it. If you had a nice little gain, I wouldn't be opposed to just watch it. I wouldn't say just take it off. Let this thing run out for a little bit today. Okay, with Apple, look at that, still flying high. Up another percent this morning, still in the upper Bollinger Band. It's traded above the upper Bollinger Band, which is very bullish for a stock like this. You can see the band still expanding. This is one of those stocks that when it breaks and runs, it breaks and runs, and there it went. Okay, let me bring in an indicator here. I want to bring in, it's called a CCI. Let's take a look at this. Help this spot. Okay. You can see the CCI down here is spiked at over a positive 300, right? Signs of extreme overbought conditions is a 200. Now it's coming back down. This doesn't mean that it has to come back down, because when these stocks take off, they can just run for a while. It can be really, really strong, but this shows you that the chances of, if you're thinking of just jumping in and hoping to enjoy a ride here, just leave it a little bit cautious. There's going to be a little bit of profit taking somewhere in here. Right now, look at that shortened trading day on Friday. It was still a great big day for Apple as far as volume goes. So can likely just keep running here, but just be a little bit cautious of just hoping to jump in and run, because there's likely to be a little bit of a pullback. I wouldn't think much, but that's a little thing. I'd just be a little bit cautious of just jumping in, hoping to enjoy a ride there. Okay. Yeah, fund managers, there's a lot of window dressing going on this type of year. This is normally a pretty bullish time of year. Historically, December is bullish, and a lot of that's attributed to window dressing, as the fund managers are trying to make things look good going into the close of the year, right? IYR, right? You're right, John. Here we go. It's been in a little bit of a downtrend here. Now the IYR is real estate shares. Okay, the downtrend here, let me zoom in on this for you. And some pretty bearish action. We'll see this is dips below the 7 over here. Now when a stock's uptrending, that's more of just a warning sign. Okay, and every time it got to it, it kept bouncing off of it. Now over here it gets up, goes back it again, and then this is the action that's really bearish. See this one day where it pops up, and then the next day, this was on Friday, the next day there, you can see how that shot back down below it. That's a pretty bearish setup. And today, where it gapped down slightly and is pushing below 63, you look at 63 right there, and there's been some support for it here recently. And a push lower off of 63 is going to take this stock down, at least a couple more dollars. Next real level is down here around the $61 mark. All right, so That holds into the close and pushes down below 63. You got a very bearish price action there on the IYR. Now, again, there's some real estate numbers coming out on Wednesday. Could influence this a little bit. All right. All right, EOG. Now, EOG, it's that time of year, right? Eggnog. I hear EOG, I think eggnog. And I'm an eggnog guy. Sorry, had to throw that out there. Yeah, EOG, a little bit of support right here. And a little bit of a descending wedge pattern. It's a little candlestick pattern right here. These are typically continuation patterns. And broke down on Friday this morning. It looks like it gapped up right to that level and has run lower. You're right, very bearish setup right here. If this holds like this into the close, this stock's running down to at least the 160. 160 would be the next stop on this, down possibly to 155 area. Yeah, great. It's a good looking chart. Now I notice I say good looking. It doesn't have to be bullish all the time. Okay, good looking. Just when I say good looking, it means that the odds are with you that this stock's going to continue down, right? I think a beautiful chart just sets up to where it's going to show you the most likely the way it's going to go, right? It doesn't always have to be bullish. And that's coming from a guy who was the ultimate bull when I first started day trading way back in the day. But then I realized if you want to make money out there, you got to follow, trade by what you're seeing and not by what you're hoping and want to have happen. So yeah, thanks, Fix. Let's go take a look at our two positions here. Now that they've opened a little bit. Marathon down about 14 cents here. Okay, we're going to keep a very close eye on this throughout the day. Going to make a decision. We're not going to make a decision until after the ISM number, and that ISM number is going to be out in about 15 minutes. All right. With Deere, down 19 cents. Now we're still above the $84 mark here. Green Mountain. Question is it time to buy it? Right here, right along the open, we don't typically trade. I don't typically make trades first thing in the morning, during the amateur hour. I'm gonna let things play out a little bit here. What would be bullish at this point for Green Mountain? Because you can see it's a little bit of a bottoming pattern here. Now it shot up, has come back, bounced up off of 65. A very positive sign today would to see this thing bounce higher up through the 200-day moving average, which is the green line right there. That comes down here to the 7, pushes higher up to the 200 like that. It'd be a beautiful bullish setup. So that's what I'd be watching for here. Right here, right now, I'd be more patient. I'd wait till this afternoon, within a half an hour of the close, and see what this is doing at that time before just jumping in. Okay, but yeah, really, I mean, it's just down 22 cents. Not a lot of indication right now. Yeah, time decay. Last week is where it really picks up. About a week and a half to a week left. Time decay really starts to pick up, and that goes over the weekends. Okay, but we're going to be watching these positions today. We'll make some decisions. If they're not looking like they're going to go our direction, we'll make those decisions today. Okay. All right, everybody. I will be. Let me look at one more chart here. Nucor. It's down here in the 50-day moving average right now. It's still below the 7. As far as bullish, nothing here right now. You'd want this thing to definitely get it back up above the 7-day average to get bullish on it. As far as bearish, watch it in the close. If this, beautiful setup here, see it rally a little bit today and roll over and go negative by the end of the day, back below the $51 mark. That would be very bearish for it. But right now, there's no bullish. If I was in a trade bearish, nothing to react to here either. I just watched the 50, but if it breaks today, then down we go a little bit further here. Okay. All right, I'll be on chat with you all day long. If you Okay, Cricket. I sorry. I see you there. With Micron, watch this level. It's just right now. This is really bullish consolidation. It got a little ways away. Let me zoom in on it for you. Got a little ways away from the 7, right? Viewed a couple trading days ago, and now we're just kind of consolidating. Nice sideways action, maybe slightly down. That's a bullish consolidation. Let that 7 catch up with it. So if I was bullish, I just let it go. If you got a nice little gain here, you know me, I'm never going to argue taking a gain at any time, even if it keeps running. But there's nothing bearish here at all. It's actually some pretty good bullish consolidation. All right, so okay. Again, ISM is going to come out in about 13 minutes from now. If you have any questions, comments, you can reach me through chat. John will be on with us a little bit today as well, and so will Jeff. And we'll talk to you soon. Okay, thanks everybody. Bye bye.